Okay. We are live. It is Monday. I know we're starting early, but I was up early. And I get weird when I have to wait around for stream to start, so we're just gonna do this now. So we are picking back up where we left off yesterday. Working on our shrubberies over here. I am sorry for cutting stream early yesterday. I've learned what headaches are worth fighting for and what's going to become a migraine, and that was becoming a migraine, and it wasn't worth fighting through at that point because I need to be functional by the end of the week. So yeah, so here we are picking back up with our Bob Ross needle felting. We are on the last tutorial of season 3. So we're getting there. Slowly. Ever so slowly. Alright. Let's finish getting set up here. Get our water. Again, it's going to be a little bit darker in here because my other light is broken. I'm not going to be able to replace that till after we get back. And even then it might be a little bit closer to Christmas, so we'll just have to kind of cope. Okay, let's see. We are working on these shrubs on our little bit of land that's sticking out here. So the next shrub was supposed to be 2 colors, a chocolate and a gold color. Alright, so let's find our chocolate, and we'll start with that. So I hope everyone enjoyed the rest of their day yesterday, and that it was a good one. Alright, so this guy, we've got our finger protectors on. I'm going to try not to lean on that. That might be why it's creaking so much. Alright. So we're going to try to shape our fluff here. Alright, so this guy is gonna kind of sit. Let's see. Where does Bob have his, or Steve? They're kind of working together on this one. Okay, so this one's kind of more over here. Okay, it's the bottom ones that kind of come up and cover that guy. So we'll get there with that. So this guy's gonna kind of hang out over here. And, you know, make them whatever shapes you really want, I guess. And whatever colors are gonna fit your color scheme here. We're just kind of following along with what Steve did. But, you know, you can get a little bit more imaginative if you so choose. was a weird noise. Sorry, there was a weird noise coming from another room in the house. That sounded like plastic popping? I have no idea what that was. Might be my mom in the kitchen. Okay, so this guy's gonna come down a bit lower. Like that's not his full shape. He's gonna need to be a little bit more put together here. Alright, that might be about good. We still might have to put a bit more on here just to fill in any background that's gonna shine through, because I want him to be a little bit more robust. I don't really want him to be too airy here. Now I did not get the dowel rod painted yet. I might do that tonight. Because I really didn't foresee us finishing today. I mean, if we end up finishing today, then I'll paint it live. We've done that before. I just might have to whip out the heat gun to get it dried a little bit faster, if that's what it comes to. We'll see though. So this piece is going to take a little bit to get it tapped in here, because he was a little bit of a fluffy guy. I usually work in smaller pieces, but sometimes the bigger piece is just what is gonna work. And I'll just have to give my hand a rest for a second. The washer stopped, so you know. Husband.
Huh?
The washer stopped.
Okay.
Carefully peel that up because it was a big chunky piece. Okay. Now I could put a little bit more in there because we do have a little bit of our shoreline kind of poking through right there, but I don't know if I need to because we've got another color coming in on this. Let's see what the other color does. Maybe we can just thicken that up in that spot if it comes to it. So this is going to be Glorious Gold, so I need to find that in our bucket of fluff. There it is. I'm gonna have to get a new pack of colored pencils soon. I'm almost out of this color in there. Don't know if I'm gonna get Crayola again. Might get a different brand. I don't know. Doesn't need to be anything too fancy though, I guess, because we're really only using it for our sketches, and we're not like doing any final piece for it. So this will be a little bit thin. I hope it's a little bit thin. Like, I want some of that brown to kind of shine through. That would be ideal. Don't necessarily want it to be solid with this particular shade. I mean, if it is, then it is, but kind of hoping to get it a little bit pulled apart so we get the dark of our shrubbery coming through underneath without it being a little too splotchy. Alright, I am going to gently pop that up here. So I'm going to check on the back of this guy and be angered by how weird and bunchy that section is, but we're going to lose part of this. We'll probably lose, I don't know, it's going to be less than ½ an inch, but we will end up losing some of that there, I'm pretty sure. Just with what we're gonna have to do to get around all that. Alright, this might be a little thick here, so I keep pulling pieces off. we can get the top and the bottom to kind of match each other's energy here. So I can already see that shoreline poking through there, so that's not what I was hoping for. And maybe we can get a little small wispy guy in there. To get that section kind of filled in just a little bit. We'll see what we can do. So there won't be any live stream next Sunday or Monday, but we'll have some stuff pre-recorded going up on the YouTube channel. I'll try to remember to put the channel in vacation mode again. I think I forgot when we went away the last time. I'm gonna need just a couple little pieces here. Just to fill in a couple of the bigger spots. Like I wanted a little bit of brown showing through, but not quite that much in a couple of places. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, that's a little bit better there. Alright. And let's see here, we've got a little bit more brown poking through down here than I wanted. Like I just wanted a little kiss of brown showing, not too much. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, so that fluff I'm going to put back in its bag. And we're going to look at our notes here. And kind of see where we're at. Okay. So we've got another chocolate and glorious gold down here. Oh yeah, I've got to do grass on here. Yeah, we won't be done tonight. Doubtful. We probably won't be finishing this guy till we come back. Okay, how tall is this one supposed to be? Oh, a little taller. Alright, so it's kind of hard because our edge is all mussed here, so we're gonna lose a little bit of this guy. Sometimes the edges just get a little bit weird. Got spoiled with that thicker felt. I will say that. I mean, part of me just kind of wants to pull the tape off of our edge here at this point. Because it's not doing a whole lot. So we've got this guy. Kind of popped into there. A little hard to see because of all the brown on top of brown. But he's right there. So we need our glorious gold again, actually. Because I didn't want to do more of that mustard. On top of there. So I figured the glorious gold color would be a good separator there. Now I know these names are silly. I didn't name these. It's yarn names. I use acrylic yarn for most of this because it's a little less expensive than roving. And we are working with a large area. These are they'll end up being just under 8 by 10 by the time everything is all said and done. I started out with an 8 by 10 approximate surface, but by the time we like trim off the edges and get this straightened out, it'll be a little under 8 by 10. Might be closer to like 7.5 by 9.5 or something like that. I'm just making sure that I've got our fluff pretty well anchored in here. We'll probably end up finishing this that first Sunday that we're back. Well, let's see, what time is it? I don't know if we're gonna finish today. If we do, then I really worked really fast, but we still have to put in the background on that area, so I'm not so sure that's going to happen today. And we still have grass to do over here. Alright, so next one is chocolate and rust. Okay, so I think we're done with the glorious gold here, at least for right now. Excuse me. We're gonna have to refill some fluff bags here at some point. That's gonna take a few days. I got some water on there. That's right, it'll dry. Not a huge problem. Alright, so then we've got this guy here. Probably should have did this backwards so that these guys look like they were sitting on top of, looking down, so I probably should have did it this way. I always forget to do that. Alright, so I'm going to take this guy up a little bit taller. Oh, what's happening? Oh, we have a raid! Oh my goodness. Lalea? I probably butchered the hell out of that. Welcome. Welcome. We've got ads starting in a minute. Just so you're aware. Thank you for the raid. I hope your stream was well. Hope your day's going well. Welcome, welcome. I am Nisey. We do a variety of things here. We do art a few days a week. Some Saturdays we usually are painting, and Sunday and Monday we're needle felting, and Thursday and Friday we are gaming. We're currently playing Coral Island and Planet Zoo on the channel. The stream was chilled and cut out a sewing pattern jeweler stuff. Nice, nice. So this current project that I'm working on, I've been working on a series. Well, thank you for the follow. I've been working on a series where, oh, ads are going to start in 10 seconds. I will tell you what I'm doing as soon as ads are over, unless you have Turbo and you don't get the ads. So you know what? Too slow to snooze it. Sorry. Too slow. You don't get the ads? Okay, cool. So, this series that I'm working on, I've been needle felting along with the Bob Ross tutorials, his Joy of Painting tutorials. So, we've painted along with some of them before. And I was like, well, you know, everybody does the painting along with them, and I've seen people even do it like following along using icing instead of paint on YouTube, and I hadn't seen anybody do it with needle felting. So I was like, you know what, let's give that a shot. So here we are. We've done all of the previous 12 of this season. We're on season 3, and we're currently on the last one. The last one was a little weird in this season because it was Steve demonstrating the answers to questions that people had sent in on how to do things that Bob was reading the questions for. So, and I don't know what Steve was doing. It seemed like winter in the back and fall in the front. I don't know. But, so that's what we're currently working on. We're on episode 13 of season 3 for, what was it called again? Peaceful Waters. So, we've done the other 12. They are archived on my YouTube channel. Same name as here. There should be a link down below somewhere. And, at the end of the project, when we finish all of the live sessions, I've been trying to go back and edit all of the live streams down into a speed needle felt, so it's a little bit easier, and then you can just watch it in one video without all of me doing this, so and talking in between, so it's a bit sped up and cut down. And I've managed to get the editing down to about 2.5 to 3 hours, because sometimes they're a little involved and it takes us quite a few sessions to get through them. So can we even felt reflection on water? You're back. Why is it saying that that ad isn't finished yet? Okay, I don't know. Twitch is weird sometimes. So you only need a felted little figurines. I haven't been able to get the reflections to look right doing the needle felting. I'm sure if you like made them pulled apart enough, you might be able to, but the couple times I've tried, it didn't look right, and I'm like, So either I gave up too soon trying to make that look right, or it's not quite, like, I'd have to like really like stretch it out, I think. And I think it would take quite a lot of fussing. And I'm not sure. We can try it on this one. We can certainly give it a go and see what it looks like. I should be able to pull it out if it's not looking right. But yeah, I've done a few figurines. Come here, Marvin. I made a flamingo, right? Because the channel mascot is a flamingo. He's kind of fuzzy and beat up. He's a little dusty. He's been around for a little bit, but I made a little lawn flamingo. I've got embroidery thread wrapped around his stick legs because I needed somewhere to put it, and I just never pulled it off when we were working on another project. So he could be a little bit better. He's a little fuzzy. I also, hey, can you get me Reggie? Can you get me Reggie and Chungus? I needle felted the husband 2 Christmas gifts previously. One year I made one of his character concepts for D&D, which was a... Oh, you wrapped him on there. Which was a lizard folk. Ah! Oh no, that was supposed to be there. Okay. I thought something came off. Which was supposed to be a lizard folk. He's a little dusty too. It's hard to keep these dust free. He's got wire. He has some armature wire in there, so he's a little bit posable. He's got a little leafy. This wasn't needle felted. This was just pieces of felt that I cut out and then like felted together in a skirt. He's got a little vest. The vest I think I needle felted together. No, the vest I'm not sure if that was a piece of felt I just kind of stabbed through or if that was actual fluff. That might have been fluff. He's missing a hand. He's got his little hat that somehow doesn't want to stay on. I forget how I attached that. But, and then, now this is a bit of an inside joke between him and I. I pretended to be a dinosaur one day when he was having a rough day. And, I'm not the smallest person, so we called it Chungosaurus. So, we needle felted a little dinosaur guy. That's half cat, half dinosaur, half turtle shell. And, so he's got grass hanging out of his mouth from eating. And, yeah, so he does stand. This one does not have armature wire in him. Needle felting around the wire on Reggie, the lizard, was an absolute god-awful nightmare. And, I almost broke 2 needles trying to do that. So, it was tough. He has, roving wrapped around his wire. That was the hardest part, was getting the wire wrapped. I know some people use, pipe cleaners. I didn't have that many pipe cleaners on me, but I had roving in a color that I didn't know what to do with, so I did that. Now, Chungosaurus. I'm zoomed in, so he doesn't fully fit in the frame. Chungosaurus's insides are polyfill. I didn't have a whole lot of roving to do the core. And I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it, but I know I didn't want to do armature wire on Chungus. I really didn't. I was like, no. I'm not going through that nightmare again. So, I had some polyfill left. So I was like, you know what? I can needle felt the polyfill together. It doesn't sound like something that you should be able to do, but I tested it and I was like, yeah, it is compacting against itself. So, there is an archive on the YouTube channel, and I think, yeah, I did a speed video of putting him together. It's not a very speedy video, but it took me a solid month and a couple of days. Like, I don't think I finished him till New Year's Day, and it was supposed to be a Christmas present. This guy took a while. He took longer than I anticipated. But yeah, his entire inner being is very, very much compacted, hard polyfill. Like, I made the shapes and felted it together. It is solid. Like, you could hurt somebody with this guy. Like, he makes a noise when you tap him. So, I've done a few figures. We're gonna do another one when we come back from vacation. I'm gonna be starting the husband's Christmas present this year. So, we'll be streaming that as well. But I might try to see if I can make the reflections work on this one a little bit. I've never been able to get them to come out right. I mean, I can try again. I tried putting tape along the edges to help me keep my edge, but I'm using the thinner craft felt, just like the 9x12 sheets from like the kids craft section. And I found that there's a new thicker one that I saw in the kids section, and I'm like, hey, let's try the thicker one. The thicker one works much better. It doesn't do this, like where the edge like bows out. But we'll clean this up. We'll straighten it up. I'll probably lose a little bit. I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch, a little bit when we clean up the sides. And then I've got a dowel rod, a split dowel rod, that we're gonna paint, probably a brown. And that's gonna get glued to the top. And I've got some twine, some like rustic looking twine that will wrap around the top to do the hanger. So Sunday and Monday are usually our needle felting days. I have an idea for another project I want to do that we'll get into after I'm done the husband's Christmas present. I want to try to, or I might be working on it alongside of it, depends. I want to try to make some needle felted magnets, like maybe 3 inches, like a 3-inch square. I'm gonna try to, I sell these real thin wood coffee stirrers that I think I can cut with a pair of scissors, that I'm gonna cut and like paint into like a little mini frame to frame around it. And then I just need to figure out what kind of magnet I need to put on the back. I don't think the sheet of magnet is going to be strong enough to hold it, so I have to figure out what I'm gonna do. So that's gonna require a little bit of experimenting with some different types of magnets, I think, because we did an art giveaway. I wasn't sure if I wanted to sell at our farmers market, because I sold a couple of things on Etsy when I had the Etsy shop, and it was okay, but I was losing more money in posting fees than I was making. And then Etsy was getting ridiculous with their requirements for verifying bank accounts, and I was hearing horror stories of the third party that they were using, where they were re-verifying people's bank accounts every month, and I'm like, you don't need to be in my bank account every month. And they like wanted your bank account passwords and stuff, and I'm like, no, you're not getting that. I'm sorry, you're not. No. I draw the line. Hang on, I need to check my notes for the next color. We did, I tend to do a test sketch on these to try to figure out what colors are going to work. So this was our test sketch for this one. Sometimes I change the colors partway through. Where are we on? Bottom left, Glorious Gold. Next to that, Rust. Okay. So, I actually, so I wasn't sure if I was going to go back to eBay or if we were going to try to sell at the farmer's market. And then I wasn't sure how to handle like local taxes and stuff, and we didn't have the little credit card dongle for our phone yet. So I have a bucket next to me with all the colors I'm using for this project, so I'm trying to find the right one. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and then the husband's like, well, let's test the waters. He goes, how about we do a giveaway, right? And we put a jar out that say, tips appreciated but not necessary, just to see if there's any interest. And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, nobody's gonna tip. I was sure proven wrong. It was amazing seeing so many like younger kids' eyes light up when they realized the stuff was free. Like, we put a limit on it so the one person didn't take the whole table, but we tried to limit it to like 2 to 3 pieces per person, because I wasn't sure if I was even going to get rid of all the stuff I had accumulated. So we gave away several of the ones from this series that we're working on already, and it was just like, people were like, oh my god, they're like, this is free. I'm like, yeah. And then I was like, we have a tip jar out, and so I mean, I made $50 in tips, which was probably more than if I had tried to sell stuff. I don't know if anybody would have bought anything. So it was kind of like set your own price kind of deal in the end. Like, and we rehomed a bunch of stuff So that was fun because I was running out of room to keep it. And then I didn't have to worry about shipping stuff, so and it getting to where it's going to go. I'm still not sure if I'm going to reopen open a new eBay store, because the other one I had closed and they're like, you can't reopen this once you've closed it. And I'm like, yeah. But at that point I was going to Etsy. I didn't really sell that much on Etsy. I sold a couple things. But I was definitely kind of drowned out in all of the, like, print-on-demand stuff and stuff that I wasn't so sure if it was actually being handmade, that I was kind of, like, raising my eyebrows out. I'm like, Etsy. What the heck? It's definitely changed since I started trying to sell on there. So I'm like, yeah, no, that's alright. I'm tired of losing money on posting fees over here. They just seem to be getting more and more ridiculous as time was going on, and I'm like, yeah, okay. But, shoot, I was gonna say something else. But yeah, we did that giveaway at the farmer's market, and that was modestly pretty good for, you know, like, we were there a couple hours. We didn't rehome everything, but we rehomed a good portion of it. So, we might try again. So I've been, might go again next year one day, because you don't have to sign up ahead of time, you just have to fill out a paper so they know who's there. If it's, like, the first time that you've been there and stuff. But you don't have to pay a fee to go and set up, so that's cool. And I thought about doing one of the local craft fairs that they do one a year, but it's like a $250 application for your spot. And I don't think you'll get it back, because, like, they have to approve you. And I don't think I have enough stuff to get through even one day of it, let alone the whole 2.5 days that it goes for. So I was, like, looking at the magnets. I was like, oh, I could probably get through those in a decent amount of time. But I also do, so, oh, that's what I was gonna say. So traditionally, this is done with roving. I use mostly acrylic yarn. It's a little bit more budget friendly for me, because I need so much and in so many colors, and it's hard to find in where I'm at, in my neck of the woods, in my corner of the internet, unless I'm just not searching correctly, roving that's affordable in the amount that I need, in the colors I need. Like, you'll find, like, your basic, like, red, blue, white, black, mostly earth tones you'll find a lot of, but I'm like, I need colors. So I had seen that you could use acrylic yarn, which is helpful for those that may potentially have a wool allergy. Just want that a little bit more filled in. In this middle spot here. And so the acrylic yarn takes a little bit more prep. You have to, like, cut it to lengths that you can manage, and then brush it out with a pet grooming brush, a sticker brush. It's got all the funny angled teeth that's sharp when you touch it a certain way. Like to get the undercoat off of a dog or whatever that's got a double coat. So I mean, that takes a little bit of time, but it's a lot more budget friendly, especially when you can find yarn on sale for pretty good deals. You can find that. I do have a little bit of roving, but the roving I have was like a 50 color assortment that I picked up on Amazon, and they come in these little tiny floss bags. Oh, and I just threw them all over the floor. So they come in like these little floss bags. That's not very much. Especially when you're working on like an 8x10-ish surface. So it's like, I don't know if that's gonna work. And I couldn't reorder specific colors. What I got out of the mystery bag of colors was what I got. So there was some reds that looked almost the same, but not exactly. And some colors, the bag wasn't even completely full. And I'm like, okay. But, you know, one skein of yarn goes quite a long ways. I haven't had to replace any of my colors yet, but I also have a ton of yarn. I think I've got like 60 or 70 different colors of yarn. I have a section of my wall with like little clothesline hung up with like little bits of cording and tied to nails on the wall, and I've got bags about this size that I've filled with the fluff, so I can just fluff when I'm ready, and then before I start the next project we go back and refill what bags are low. So chocolate and glorious gold. This one was chocolate and rust. Okay, so then we have the three that are the light green and the chocolate coming down here. Okay, cool. Sorry, I was looking at my notes. I also do a little bit of oil painting. I do a little bit of, well, in the Bob Ross technique of oil painting. Once in a while. And then I do a little bit of acrylic painting. We just finished up painting a mandala with some dot art inside the shapes Saturday. And that's a little big. And then I also do tissue paper art, which we haven't done in a while, but we're going to be doing some of that for Christmas gifts as well. So we'll be doing that on Saturdays when we get back from our trip here. Is that going to be... Alright, that might work there. Or do I want to kind of sit here? I mean, we could sit here. That's fine. I've got bits of fuzz everywhere. Alright. Just trying to figure out where I want to position this guy, because, you know, we can make it similar to Bob's, so he doesn't have to be exact. I know I'm doing brown on top of brown, but I didn't want this floating. Like, I wanted some kind of land to anchor this on to at least be a guideline for me. I know Steve just kind of like tossed it all in there, but sometimes with the needle felting we can't quite get away with doing the kinds of things you can with paint. You have to be a little more planned out. Have more of an idea of what we're trying to achieve there. But we're almost caught up on the speed felts. Husband is in the middle of editing the one we did from episode 10. And I'm in the middle of working on either 11 or 12. Life's been busy, so we haven't had much time to work on editing. And I'm using a wool mat. It's a little lumpy. We've had it for over a year. It's taken quite a lot of stabbing. So I'm probably going to be picking up another one around Christmas. This one's not so bad. This one's held up better than the previous one I had, I will say that. The previous one I had started to get such a large bump in the middle that the whole thing was turning into a crater. When you flipped it upside down, it looked like a bowl. I was like, oh dear. So that one kind of wasn't working anymore. But this one's still flat on the one side. And it's worked out a bit better than the other one, so... So we got that going for us. Okay, so there's one shape. It's hard to see. You can kind of see the top. Gonna be lurking while you're cleaning the kitchen. Hey, no problem. Thank you again for the raid. I appreciate it. Hope your sewing project goes well, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. So a little bit of water there. It helps keep the get the fluff to cooperate a little bit better. That's a little big. Didn't think it was that big, but once we got it in there. Ah! No, come back. We have a fan running. Fan and fluff does not always equate to an easy time of it. Alright, so I'm just kind of getting our shadowy bits in here for our green shrubbery, since it's all going to be the same green. Just going to work on getting our shadowy bits in place here. Now I'm excited to get back to our tissue paper art projects. Been a while. I'm in the middle of planning a large piece that's, oh, what size was that again? Was that 36 by 40? I think that's what size it was. We were originally looking at a 40 by 60, but I don't really have the room for it. And there's the potential that we might be moving back to the East Coast from the middle of the country, and that's going to be anxiety inducing to move for me. So I'm like, I don't know if something happens to that after the amount of work that's going to go into it. I still want to do one that large, but I think I'm going to hold off until we figure out if we are moving that far. Alrighty. Okay, so this guy, we're gonna kind of pop into here. And we'll get this guy kind of shaped into here. And then we'll grab our green and start to fill in these guys. You know, I was thinking we wouldn't get this done today, but I keep forgetting we started early today. Ideally, I would like to have him finished since it's our last needle felting stream before we go away. But we'll see. See if I can reposition that a little bit. Okay. So, gently pop that up. Yeah, like I've got a little bit of a bump there. It's not too bad. It's still workable. So I'm hoping that we can replace that guy soon. It's not a dire emergency, but sooner rather than later would probably be a good call. Okay. So now, oh, I've got bags of fluff everywhere. Alright, I think nope, that's forest green. Where the heck is it? There it is. Alright, so these shrubs are gonna be light green. And then and then we have our grass colors, which don't include light green, so that works out. Okay, just trying to get a shape figured out here for this guy. So I want a little bit of our brown to kind of be able to shine through a little bit if possible. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I am using just a small needle. There's no number gauge on this needle set, so I have no idea what actual number it is. This tool set just had it labeled as S. I've tried the multi needle handle. The one that came in my kit could hold up to 8. That was very heavy and made my arm very tired. What's in the washer now? I thought you were only doing one load.
I was gonna do all the loads, but I had to wash my mom's stuff again. I've got it on warm this time, so it might be a while.
What's on warm?
My mom's stuff.
Oh.
See if that would help.
Oh, it still smelled funky?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah.
We might have to go to PetSmart or Walmart and find something and try to hand wash it.
Maybe.
Because I know there's 1 or 2 products that we can try. I mean, I would almost want to suggest baking soda, but that might make it feel gritty if it doesn't all get washed out. And then that would be an even bigger problem. that needs just a little bit more fluff and stuff in there. Okay. That definitely adds a splash of color in there, doesn't it? You don't have to do this part. I just tend to, just to make sure everything's kind of trying to lay flat. This will lay a little bit flatter once we get that section cleaned up a bit. And you know, you can shape your fluff to whatever shape is gonna work out a bit better for you. Loud traffic. Got a lot of dump trucks going by lately, and I'm not entirely sure why. They've got to be working on some sort of construction project, or they're just ignoring the signs about no through trucks. There's like one road that goes through our town, and we live right on it, and then there's another road that they added to kind of reduce the amount of traffic that the in-town road was dealing with by going just on the outskirts of downtown. And I'm not sure how many people use that, because we sure do get an awful lot of in-town traffic. And we're like not even half a car length, like our front door is like barely half a car length to the road. And our house isn't very soundproof, so we tend to get a lot of the road noise coming on through. I mean, the back looks almost as pretty as the front, like an impressionist kind of way. I wish that didn't valley so much, but kind of like divoted in around that tree. We'll see what we can do. It might flatten out a bit once I get this sorted, I hope. But now I know that when I'm done going through my supply of this thinner felt, I'm going to need to get the thicker stuff. Hopefully I won't have to get it by the yard. Alright, so let's see what we can do here with this guy. I don't need the bushes to be too uniform with our shrubbies here. Alright, that did just stop. I don't know if the dryer stopped though. Okay. So let's see what we can do with this guy. Those aren't bad. They've kind of got some fall colors happening here. not sure if I'm going to need to add a little bit more on this guy. Maybe not. Maybe not. Alrighty. We've got some thinner sections in here, so just to make sure we're taking our time. And we're getting that guy all good and attached in there. Okay. And if you're not sure if you're attached, you can always run your finger over and see if it's moving any or if you feel any loose bits shifting around. And if you want loose bits, hey, that's great. If you don't want them loose, then go back and stab a little bit more in those areas that are shifting. Okay, so that's not bad. We're actually going to start the grass on that guy. Okay. Well, the grass might take a little bit, so I need to find my notes again. See what our grass colors are supposed to be here. So I need mustard, forest green, and hunter green. Right, well, that is none of those. Oh, so that's not that either. Well, there's our forest green. There's our hunter green. And there's our mustard. Okay. So this, gonna pull out a little bit of each guy here and then sit them to the side. And it's easier for me just to have all of our colors fluffed and ready to go. That way I don't have to stop and fluff some more of somebody. So whenever I get yarn, oh, I think we're in an ad break. Whenever I get yarn, I will tend to fluff a Ziploc bag full before I put it away. Okay, so for my grass, tend to grab I usually try to do my grass in 3 colors, usually 3 to 4. So I've got some hunter green, and I usually tend to pull a small bit out and then kind of separate the fibers a little bit. Mostly so like one color hopefully doesn't overpower. We need a little bit more of that. Sorry, cats are being silly. Somebody's just thunderfooted into here. Alright, I'm gonna take a little bit of water, just a drop or two on my palm. And I'm gonna snake these 3 colors together. Just to kind of... Now, they will still look a little bit stripey in your snake, but if we do this right, it won't look too stripey on here. So I need to have a little bit of ground here. So let's see, this can come up a little bit in front of the shrubs. So I kind of pick where I want the base of the grass to start, and then I will kind of flick the fiber strands out, kind of fan them out a little bit, just to give them a little bit more of a grassy appearance. And you can make your grass however tall you want. And then I'm going to snip the base to remove our tail. And it's a little hard to see it right there because it's only our first piece. And then I'm just going to come back in and do the same. Try to keep the base kind of in line with itself. Sometimes I'll overlap it a little bit with its friend next door. And the things on my fingers are finger coats. They're like a faux leather protector, just so if I do accidentally stab myself, it won't be quite so bad of an injury. These needles are very sharp if you've not used them before. Like hecka sharp. Like sharper than a sewing needle sharp. Like, you need to be careful. Plus, you know, you're using it with some force, so that sucker's gonna hurt. It does hurt. It hurts very much. I have stabbed myself with it before. Especially when working on Reggie. I had so many little tiny stab dots on my fingers from working on Reggie. Because I only had 2 of the protectors, and I would keep getting the rest of my hand in the way. Now, you could go with a little bit more of a robust snake if you wanted. You could layer those 3 colors a little bit more if you so choose. I just chose to do 3. I could have gone another 3 layers. Oh, there's Cow. Cow the cat. He came pre-named. We just didn't bother renaming him. He seemed to already be used to that name at that point, so we were like, okay. I really wasn't sure what other name would have fit either. Like, Mr. Peabody had a different name when we got him, but I can't for the life of me remember what it was now. I know it was something that didn't seem to fit him. So I'm gonna bring these little grassy bits up in front of our shrubbery here, just to try to push it back a little bit. Now it might look a little bit stripy as we're putting it in, but when we get the other layers in, it won't look as stripy. It'll look more like variegated grass growth in there. And I've tried to do grass a couple different ways. This way, while it is a little more time consuming, shall we say, it does tend to look a little bit better, I think, than some of the other ways that we've done it. I do find if you anchor the bottom of your grass first, it makes it a little bit easier to fan out your fiber and get that grass shape a little bit easier. And if you're doing the snippy tail method here, where you snip off the excess, make sure you go back in and tack down where you just snipped from, because those are going to be loose ends there, unless you want the loose ends. If you do, then just move on to putting in your next piece. That's fine too. So I need to try to make sure I leave us room here. I've got fuzz stuck to my nose. I have to make sure I leave us some shoreline here. If I get carried away, we could just add some more back in. If it comes to it, but little fruit fly. I don't know where the little fruit fly came from. But there's a little tiny fruit fly. When I pick up a new mat, I might pick up some new finger protectors, because these guys, I've gotten quite a bit of use out of them. The one corner's definitely got some wear and tear on it, because my aim is terrible. Oh, I'm all the way over here. We can be over here a little bit more. Didn't realize I was quite so off-center on the camera. So this guy has definitely started to take on its own bit of personality here. Since we started adding a bit more color in. Not very good at trusting the process. Sometimes I just kind of have to keep repeating that over and over in my head. And just be careful when you're snipping your tail off of there that you're not cutting into your project. I mean, if you do, it might be fixable, but let's try to avoid that if we can. Alright, our tail's getting a little bit smaller here. see how much is left here. Sometimes when I get just a tiny bit left, instead of snipping it, I will just fold it up. But that's not quite enough to, that's like a little too much to fold up, I think. So I'll end up with like a little V shape on the last bit of grass mixture. And if you need to re-snake it a little bit, re-roll it, if it's starting to get a little unruly, that is absolutely up to you. And we will, now see I have that little guy there, I'm just gonna kind of flip him up and just kind of make a little V shape there. And by the time we get the next row in, it's not really gonna be noticeable. Because grass isn't always the same height as it's growing in a field. You'll have some sections that are a little bit smaller than others. Alright, so we're gonna finish out to here. And then I think we're gonna have to do at least one more row. Colors got mixed. It's one bad thing about putting this out on the desk with the colors next to each other is that sometimes they can mix, and if you're not going to be using all of it, then it's kind of color contaminated. It makes things a little bit more difficult, because then you have to figure out if you're going to try to pull the other color out, or if you're going to try to just call it a day on that piece. Now this bit might end up being a little more yellow than the last bit of fluff we had. And that's okay. You know, sometimes the sun hits a little more in one area than another. I mean, that just happens. Gives it a little more life than being cookie cutter all the way across. A little more variation. Alright, yeah, just another drop of water. I'm going to spread across my palm. And then we're going to just start to snaky. Ah! Okay. Alright, so our snake's a little rough there, but that's okay. Alright. So, again, I'm just going to anchor the bottom there, and then fan everybody else out. I don't want to totally cover the shrubs here, still want to see them. Okay. So this guy's a little bit longer. I'll probably still have to mix one more round of grass though. So I don't think it'll be quite enough to finish our grass here. Okay. So we will get all of that tapped into there. I'm not very good at keeping the same line all the way across on the grass, but that might not be such a bad thing. Might have to extend our dirt here. We'll see. We'll have to see. Okay, so next bit here. Just trying to make sure I am moving forward. So I'm not just constantly putting it down in one spot. Like, I prefer to overlap just a little bit, but I don't want to camp out in one specific spot either. So that won't do us any good. Okay. And I'm just going to come back in and make sure my tails are good on my loose ends. So it always feels good to clean up those loose ends there. Alrighty. There we go. Alright, you can kind of see it coming in now. It'll look a little bit better once we get the next row worked in here. For sure. Okay. So I'm getting this next bit here. Now I might end up making the little bit over here a little bit taller. potentially. All right. Go away, little fruit fly. We don't have guest star turned on. Go away. And now he's mad. You're coming at my face, bro. Alright. Yeah, we will more than likely have to do one more set of grass. And that's okay. I'll just try to make it a smaller section. Because once I roll all these together, if we don't use it all, then I usually just get rid of that little bit that's left. Because it's not really worth trying to detangle them from each other, because you'll still have some fiber picked up from one of the other colors. And honestly, it's not that much fiber. When you look at the size of the ball, I've actually gotten quite a lot of mileage out of our yarn skeins, and some of them were larger than others. So even the smaller guys have gotten us pretty far. Kind of impressed. Now we might eventually follow along with other seasons doing this, maybe, but I've got a couple of other projects I want to work on before I think about that, but we might. Kind of depends. And I don't know if I would go back and follow season 1 and work our way up, or maybe we'll start at the end and work our way backwards. We could do that. I'm not that familiar with the later seasons, since we've tended to hang out in the lower numbered ones. Okay, so trim this guy. Just make sure that you've disconnected all of it before you go to pull it away. You'll know when you go to move your hand. You'll feel it tug if you didn't get all of it. Okay. And you don't have to make your grass all the same height. Probably be a little bit better if you didn't. Okay. We'll get this bit here all tapped in. So excited to work on our next tissue paper. We've got several tissue paper projects coming up. Christmas gifts for my mom, the mother-in-law, and her sister, in case her sister shows up. Oh, I might have to make one for the other sister if that's where she's going for Christmas. I don't know though. We'll see. Alright, well I've got a little bit of a divot there. Well, not a divot, but a section that didn't really take its grass very well. I guess that's not so bad. There we go. I want to keep where those have fanned out because I like that. So I'm going to tap in the ends first on that piece. Just so I don't lose the placement. I don't have very much weight on this finger. I've just got it here to make sure that it's just gentle finger, normal resting weight. Just so that the needle doesn't grab too much fluff in one go, so it's not eating all of it too quickly. If I take my hand away, the barbs will just grab all of it and just start shoving it all down in there. And we don't need that. Alright, let me see. I need to see the larger version of Bob's here. Steve's. Okay. Alright, now. We've got quite a lot of layers of fluff there. Alright. Now, how far down do I want this to be? Because we've got our shoreline here, and we still have to get some highlighty guys on that. I mean, I suppose we could have just done this in one pass and made it the proper length it needed to be. But sometimes I just prefer the look of the double layer. Ah, oh no, I pulled too hard. I was just trying to stretch that out just a tiny bit. So we'll get that guy into there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to elongate this yet or not. The shoreline here. I might not. I've got a little bit of water poking through right there. I need to get some of our highlight on the shoreline still. So we'll see if we can get that squished into there. Oh, well, maybe we won't have to do another bit of grass. It kind of depends. If I do, it's going to be very, very small. Alright, so let me trim that. Alright, now you do want to pop this up gently pretty often when you're using the fabric mats. I don't use the foam mats. My ears are extremely sound sensitive. Why did chat just disconnect? Twitch is being twitchy. Looks like it's back now. Interesting. Oof. Time to change our position. Oh. Not used to the armrest on this chair still. Had to replace my chair not too long ago. And I normally don't want the armrests on my chairs because I've got neck problems, and if there's armrests I will tend to push down with my arms and like jam up my neck. So I tend to prefer chairs that I can make the armrests optional on assembly. Some of them you can, some of them you can't. So it can be quite the challenge to find a chair that's going to work for me. But I ended up putting one of the armrests on this chair. Because I didn't know what to do with my one arm while I was editing, and what I was doing with it was making it go numb. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I need somewhere to set my arm. Might be able to get away without extending that. I don't know. Means I'm gonna have to shorten this a little bit. But, you know, it doesn't have to look exactly like Steve's or Bob's. Bob always says it's our world, right? We can do what we want. And he's just giving us the knowledge of how to use certain tools to get those results. And it's up to us to take that knowledge and put it to use, creating something of our own. I do think it's good to try to follow along at least once or twice. I mean, we followed along painting with oils 2 different seasons. And I'm kind of in the middle of a gouache project, trying to follow along with that. That's tough to do with gouache, I will say. I'm struggling a little bit with it, the way Bob paints it. But we've gotten through a couple. It's been a while since we've revisited that. I keep saying we're going to get back to it. And I still have every intention of getting back to it. Just life, man. I used to be able to do longer streams, and then I had to cut them down. Because of life and my sleeping schedule. But I'm trying to get up a little bit earlier and go to bed a little bit earlier this week, so I'm not quite so crippled while we're traveling. Because, you know, hotel checkout times are a thing, and, you know, we don't want to burn too much daylight just dicking around. I'm waiting on my ass because everybody else will already be up, so. Let's snip this section here. Alright, now let's see here. So if we take this section here, we might not need to mix more grass. That would be fantastic if we didn't. We'll have enough after all. So another reason why I did the dirt when Steve didn't. Steve just kind of threw everything in and he added the little shoreline later. Is that sometimes when you're doing grass and shrubs, you know, you'll have little breaks naturally in the ground, right? At least where I live. It can get like that where the grass isn't fully covering everything. You'll get little dirt splotches. So I kind of plan ahead of time in case we do end up with dirt splotches, like little gaps in between our bits of grass and stuff. Just, you know, it'll make it look a little bit better. 'Cause at least then we've got dirt splotches instead of blank spaces that we have to come back in and figure out what we're gonna do with or cover up. So I'd rather see the little dirt splotches than be in a panic of, oh great, now what I'm gonna do. I've done one or two where I didn't do the dirt underneath, and you know, we had to be exceedingly meticulous on how we put the grass in. Which was a little bit of a pain. I mean, it saved us time on putting the dirt in, but it also cost us a little bit more time putting the grass in, because we had to be a little extra careful. Okay. But this one has really come together. I wasn't so sure about it. There are a couple things I would do differently if I ever redid this one. I would lower the darker trees a little bit more back in here. And I would probably extend them over a little bit further. I still could extend them, but I don't want to mess with it now. Alright, I'm gonna pop this guy up because it's been a couple passes here. I don't want it to go too far in between lifting that up off the mat, because then it doesn't like to lift up off the mat. After a while it's like, no, I live here now, and it's like, no, no you don't, no you don't. You're not becoming one with the mat. What's not happening is that. It can try, but sometimes it feels like it's become one with the mat. That's why you want to pull it up off of the fabric mats every so often. Gently. I wasn't so gentle the one time and I forgot to lift it up. And that's how we got our little bumpy thing, because I had to really give it a good detachment heave, because I didn't want to let go. Plus, you know, these mats really weren't intended for the amount of stabbing we put them through. We've got a little bit left here. And I just want to... Now I'm going to take this to the edge over here, just because I'm not sure where the cutoff is going to be, to try to fix this edge. I mean, both edges are going to get trimmed a little bit. This one's worse than that side, though, for whatever reason. Alright. Oh, good. We didn't have too much left over. That is an amount of fluff that I'm okay. That amount won't slice open my soul. I hate wasting art supplies. Because sometimes the budget just isn't there to get more for us. So like, every art supply is precious to me. So I'm not thrilled about getting rid of this little bit, and I could try to work it in there somewhere, but it's okay. Alrighty, so we got that in there. Let me put our grass fluffy colors away just for the moment. I'm still undecided if I'm gonna try these reflections. Every time I've tried them, they just look terrible. I've tried them before and I just haven't been able to get them to look right. Something about it with the fluff, it doesn't really look like reflection every time I've tried it, and I don't know. I'd hate to to mess up what we've done so far. Okay, oh, actually I didn't put in the, really? No. I grabbed the color, but I didn't put it in. Okay, well, I know what it's supposed to be. So... Alright, so we're gonna grab some of this light brown. They are calling it soft fudge. Doesn't really look fudgy to me. Alright, now we're gonna make this kind of... Oh, or should we use the taupe? Oh, hold on. You know what? I think I want the taupe instead. Excuse me. The taupe's got a little bit more gray tone to it. I need that. No, I don't need that right now. No. Fluff. Come on now. There's only so many colors in this bucket. Like, what the heck? Come here. Thank you. I'll leave you at the top of the bucket. Alright. So this is kind of like a smoky brown. Like a smoky brown gray. I think this is gonna look better. Cow! Don't do that. It's getting into trouble. They like to dig their claws, all the cats, into our box spring, mattress base, whatever you want to call it. They've got a hole ripped in the one corner of it that I keep trying to put packing tape over to keep him from trying to go inside of it. Because I don't want him getting stuck or hurt in there and then us having to cut the whole thing open to get him out. Because he's totally the type of cat that would do that. That one just doesn't know when to stop and gets himself into all kinds of trouble. Alright, so I'm pulling this apart because I want it to be airy. And kind of like cloud wispy. Because we want it to be more of like a kiss of color than taking over. It's just supposed to be our little bit of highlight. I think I was originally intending to use that lighter, like teddy bear brown, but this feels a little bit more. I don't know. Stay over there. It's like spider webs. This feels a little more matching to our color palette here. And I like to go with less is more when I'm doing this particular kind of stuff. At least to see how it looks, and then if I think it needs a little bit more, we'll go back. But I don't want to start out with a whole bunch down for like a highlight to start out with, because then it could overpower, right? We don't want that. Because while we can try to remove some of it if it's too much, it's kind of a pain in the ass. We can if we need to, but I'd rather not if we can help it. And you can scrape the fiber to help separate it a little bit on there. Just make sure you don't stab in and dry, because then you'll snap your needle. But you can surface scrape before you've really attached it to try to get your little stringy guys in position. Alright, so Steve did his a little differently. He did it like coming down at an angle. I probably should have did that myself, but that's okay. Right? Everything's a little different. Doesn't all have to be a seam. Sorry, it sounded like there was a cat messing around under my chair. I'm getting into trouble, as that cat tends to do. So, maybe just a tiny bit more. I really don't want to overdo this. Maybe just one more little wispy bit in here. I think the dryer might have stopped.
Yeah.
Alright, that's probably good. So I don't want very much on here. I know Steve had a little bit more, but I don't want that much. I want it a little bit darker right up under. Actually, that was a gap that kind of opened up there, so that does need a little bit more of this right up in there, but the rest of it, at least it looked like a small gap. I couldn't tell if it was water or our gray color. It could have been either. But you know what? It's just easier to go back in and add a little bit of this now. I don't know, see, that section there looks a little lighter, like a little light on the highlighty bits, since I had to go back and add a little bit more to the other side. Sometimes those thinner strands can be the most trouble trying to get them tagged in there, tapped in. Alright, so stick that back in its bag. Alrighty, so let's grab some white now. I might skip the reflection. Like I said, every time. I'm just not good at doing the reflections with this. And I don't want to ruin what we've done so far. Alright, he actually doesn't have too much in the way of waterline here. Got a little bit. But he doesn't have a whole lot. That was probably way too thin. He's got a little bit in here. Ah! Stop sticking to my fingers. It never sticks when I need it to. And today it just doesn't want to let go. Alright, so I don't want to get too carried away. Just want a little bit here. Well, I guess that piece is small enough. We can just kind of tuck that in there. Okay, yeah, he didn't really add a whole lot of waterline here, did he? I think if Bob had been doing it, Bob would have added a little bit more waterline than that, personally. After seeing Bob do waterlines, I kind of feel like he would have probably been a little bit more generous. think that just kind of blended in, didn't it? No, you can kind of see it on the camera. In person, it kind of faded out to nothing. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it. Alright, I think I'm gonna do one little tiny more. Just one little guy. Here on the edge. Just so it doesn't look quite so lonely over here. Alrighty. Okay, actually, shit, we might finish this tonight. I don't know though, I still have to paint that dowel rod. Okay. So, this side. Oof. Alright. So, chocolate and glorious gold, chocolate and rust, and chocolate and light green. Alright. So, this side that hasn't gotten nearly as much attention. We're all done with hunter green, so I can put that to the side. Light green. Rust. Okay. Okay, so we need to advance our tutorial here. Okay, so he put in some little sticky guys. So this started out as like a dark green base on these guys. I'm just gonna go with brown. Cause, oh, that's yellow though. I thought it was green, it's yellow. Oh. You know what, I think we're just gonna go with green for ours. That's fine. It'd be weird to add yellow in now at this point, since we didn't add any big yellow in here yet. So I'm gonna try to overlap our blue here. Just so we don't have any weird like shape merging, color merging issues. Definitely going to have to add more of our brown here. So right now I'm just trying to figure out the shape of these guys and how we want them to come in here. Because Bob actually did kind of like 1, 2, and then did the third one down here. Who's destroying our bed? someone was destroying our bed and I didn't know who. Because I can't see them. I don't know if they're on the other side or not. Okay, so I might need to add a little bit more along our edge here, maybe. I mean, it's gonna get trimmed up a little bit, so it might not really matter. Beginning to think I need to pull the glue gun out though. Alright, so let me gently peel this up, and I do mean gently because he's definitely wanting to become one with that mat there, at least in that particular spot. Sorry about the bell. We have a on one of our visits to Key West, we'd picked up like a cast iron bell. We're like, oh, we'll have this outside for like a doorbell, because the doorbell that's outside doesn't really work, and nobody would ever ring the bell. Not that we had that many visitors anyway, but we decided to put it in the house outside of our bedroom door, because my mom doesn't knock nearly loud enough when she needs us, and half the time we don't hear her. So if we don't have the door to our room open, she doesn't see it. And we currently live with the husband's mom, the mother-in-law. It's her house. Although technically it's her and Russell's house, because I think his name's on the deed as well. But, my parents ended up moving in because she had room, and they were in a financial problem, and they were getting, started with my dad. He was getting too ill to be on his own, and we had moved out of state. So we ended up moving him down here with us, and then it's a long story, but my mom followed a little while later. So do we need to go and get...
Yeah, I'm going to.
Well, don't go yet, because I wanted to go.
Oh, well, I was going to go do it so I could get this done, but alright.
Well, no, because we have to go to look for something later anyway.
Okay.
Because I think we're going to have to go to the big one.
Yeah, probably. Well, not necessarily.
Do I need to wrap up early and we'll do a bonus stream tomorrow where I actually finish this guy?
No, you're okay.
Because I'm not sure I'm going to have enough time to finish him today. Because I still have to paint the dowel. That kind of sounds like a better idea. because we still have to finish these shrubs. And that could take probably a good 20-30 minutes to finish these guys. And then I have to paint the dowel and heat the glue gun after I clear space for the glue gun. And then we have to trim the edges up on this guy. Maybe we'll do that, because I really don't want to let this guy sit this close to being finished while we're gone. And that sounds like a better idea. Yeah, well, let's do that. So we'll end a little bit early today so we can finish it tomorrow, since the husband and I have to run an unexpected errand. I would rather do that, because I don't like going over, because then I kind of fuck up the my rest of my evening, because I have to make dinner for my mom, and if it was just me eating late I wouldn't care so much, but since I have to feed her and she has to eat by a certain time for medication, that I'd rather not go over if we can help it, and I think we would end up going over if we did that. So we can finish it tomorrow. We'll just do a bonus stream tomorrow. But we're almost done. We're almost done. I'm kind of liking how that side ended up coming out. Not the weird bulgy thing, but the shrubs and the trees and stuff. So that's what we'll do. So I'd like to thank everybody that rated in with Low. We're gonna go with Low because I don't want to butcher the name. I'm sorry, I probably already did like 3 times. I apologize, but thank you for the raid with that and all of your friends. I hope your sewing project goes well. We'll be back tomorrow for a bonus stream to finish this guy up. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening. And until next time, you guys.